Hello everyone, it's Elsa and I'm here for Tuesday tea. I was going to be out in the paddock with Atlas, but it started to rain really hard, so we're going to take this inside. But if you look out there, he's still over my shoulder. He just has his tail turned to us right now. See if I can, there we go. So yes, Atlas is still with us. He's eating his hay out in the paddock, and I usually like to do tea time with him. But given the rain, I took it inside. I'm sitting up in the loft of my cozy little house. It's warm, and I've got tea. So I thought today that I wanted to talk a little bit about speed of development in horse training. It's something that's been on my mind a lot since I did the last 7 weeks of touring and teaching, and honestly, as I get back here and I dive back in with the stallions, I've been home for a couple of days now, and Ari and Atlas are doing fabulously. The thing that I notice most is it doesn't seem like they missed a beat. They seem almost exactly like they were when I left. All of the skills seem to be exactly where they were when I left. Their comfort levels seem to be right where they were when I left. Thank you, Teza. It's really good to be home. It's really good to just be back in my routine. But I've been thinking a lot about the speed of progress and the things that play into that. So one of the things I've decided to do this year, so it's my second year working with the stallions now, and I've decided that I am going to force myself to take a couple of days away from them each week. It's something I didn't do in the first year. I was pretty intense, and I don't think that was necessarily my best choice. I think a little bit of time away is going to help my brain work, and it's going to bring me back to them each week with a new perspective. So, as horse trainers, we really want the horses to develop into the best version of themselves possible. Most horse training uses a lot of motivators, whether it's food motivators or pressure motivators. Most horse training depends on its motivators, and that's absolutely fine. What I've done with freedom-based training is I've taken away all the obvious motivators. No food rewards, never trapping a horse between me and the fence, never using any tools. Now, obviously there's some safety factors where, for Atlas, with one, I've had to change the rules a little bit sometimes. But for the most part, I want my training to be with the only motivator as my company. What's my company worth? How good are my choices? Do I know how to have the right kind of feel and timing around my horse so that they want to be with me and that feels like a motivator to them? And taking time off is a way that I can organize my thoughts around my choices of how to be the best person I can be in the space with my horses so that my company is the right kind of motivation. Now, it's a really low pressure motivator. I mean, they have their horse friends, they have a whole life without me, they're pretty content without me, they don't really need me. And that's how I like it. I want to be extra. I want to be the cherry on top. I want to be the best part of the ice cream sundae. But I don't know if that's the best part. But anyway, I want to be extra. And that's my point. So, as I watch Atlas out here, he's eating his hay. And I'm thinking a lot about how I can show up to be the kind of friend that he wants to do new things with. And every day I'm going to go out there and I'm going to spend time, first of all, knowing who he is on that day. Who is Atlas? What is he like? What is he not like? What can I do around him? Not for him, not to him, but around him, with him, that makes him want to do things with me. And that is what freedom-based training is. He is free to be himself. I am free to be myself. But I'm going to develop my choices so that the horse wants to develop the variety of things they're willing to do with me. It's an incredibly simple concept. But, I named the movies Taming Wild because there's a wild streak in all of us that wants things to be different right now. How do I motivate my horse to be more curious, more interested, more playful, more engaged? But freedom-based training isn't really about motivating them today. Freedom-based training is about motivating them tomorrow, next week, next month. What are the choices I can make today around the horse that develops them in their future, that turns them into the best version of the horse that they can be? Maybe even a version of a horse that wants to be ridden, or wants to go exploring with me, or wants to do new and interesting things with me. That version of the horse is the version of the horse I'm trying to develop. Now, freedom-based training is a really slow way to develop that. And I tell everyone in my clinics that I'm not against motivators, whether it's food rewards or tools of pressure. Everybody has different motivators that they like to use. Motivators increase the horse's desire to try new things, to try things outside their comfort zone, to do things that they wouldn't normally choose. Nothing wrong with all that. But freedom-based training is a whole experiment of what happens if I take those away. What kind of person do I need to be if my company is the only motivator there is? And sure, I have the pressure of my hands a little bit on their body. I can move them around a little bit, but I can only do that if I've built links between the association of that pressure and my company, because there's nothing stopping them from just running away from me. There's nothing holding them to me. They don't have to go through me to get food or water. All of those things are available all the time. So this is really the thing I'm thinking about as I'm home again, is what are the choices I'm going to make that turns Ari and Atlas into the best possible horses they could be tomorrow, next week, next month. Not necessarily today, because this is a slow process, but in the future. And yes, absolutely, connecting with them for a few minutes, playing with them, and then leaving in a good moment of acceptance or even enjoyment. That feel and timing is the thing that's going to get me there. You're absolutely right. And so I'm here studying this every single day. I'll be back on tour next year, and I'm doing my online courses, and I'm sharing every week through Patreon if you guys are interested. I am going to keep studying this. I'm going to keep learning it, because I think the very best horse trainers in the world use their own physical decisions, where they stand, when they move, when they're still, when they harmonize with the horse, when they don't. That's the kind of thing that a really good horse person does without thinking. They don't even have to think about it. They're also using the extrinsic motivators, the tools or the food rewards, to motivate the horse to change more quickly. That's our standard for horse training. But the very best horse trainers are at the same time making really good decisions for their human body around the horse. And so that's what I want to study. And I happen to be studying it in exclusivity because I really want to drill down and understand what it takes. I think that really good horse trainers use it included in all of their other motivational work with horses. I'm just slowing it way down so I can study all the details. And so I'm going to show up and make really good decisions around the horses, try and figure out which ones work, which ones don't work, and really embrace the fact that it's okay that I'm starting on my second year here with the stallions. It was supposed to be a 1-year project, but let's face it, when I did the 1-year project with Myrna, I was working for, 3 to 6 hours a day with one horse. And here I've got 2, and I really haven't been able to go beyond that sort of 3 to 6 hours a day most days. But it's divided by 2 horses. So it really does make sense that this is taking me a little longer than the first project took. I thought since I knew what I was doing more, I'd be able to speed it up, but life had other plans for me. So we're just going to see how it goes. And I'm going to see if I can show up and let it take the time it takes. That's how I'm going to learn. I'm going to do the work that I need to do on one day, and then come out the next day and see how the horse feels about it the next day. That time lag between the work that I do and having them think about it and then having them decide how they want to react tomorrow, that's a really key piece to freedom-based training. When we have stronger motivators, we can motivate them more in the moment. But when we take away all those stronger motivators, it's a really organic developmental process. And I guess I wanted to talk about that today in our fabulous Tea with Elsa. Thank you guys all for joining me. I am diving into this and I am loving the process, but I've got to admit it is hard. As a horse trainer, I wish that I could show you results much faster. I wish I could teach you how to produce results much faster. And what I found in my clinics is I can produce very big changes emotionally in the horse in a short period of time. But when it comes to really stretching their comfort zone and doing a wide variety of things with them, that's the part that takes time, a lot of time. And so here I am. I am living life and doing the work and showing up every day, and I will be back next Tuesday to talk about it some more. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them in the comments, and I will try and answer at tea time next week. I'm always sort of coming up with a different topic to talk about each week. Usually it's whatever I'm thinking about at the time, but I'm always happy to take suggestions. It's an ongoing process. Love the work, taking the slow road, smelling the roses, and Alice is out here. He's my muse. Ari and Ocasio are in the other paddock, and I'll be back out in the rain to play with them shortly. So thank you all for joining me, and I will see you next week.